The slap echoed through the packed courtroom, a sharp, shocking crack of skin on skin. For a frozen second, nobody moved. Nobody breathed. Officer Mark Jenkins stood over Dr. Maya Thorne, his hand still raised, his face twisted with fury. She hadn't flinched, hadn't cried out, just stared at him, her cheek burning red, her dignity unbroken. The judge, the bailiffs, the spectators, all sat in stunned silence. A cop had just assaulted a black woman in a temple of justice, and in that breathless, suspended moment, Maya made a decision. She wasn't just a defendant anymore. She was about to become the judge. The air in the courtroom was thick with injustice long before the slap. Maya Thorne, a 42-year-old civil rights attorney, was representing herself against a bogus resisting arrest charge. Officer Jenkins, the man who'd arrested her during a legal observation of a protest, sat smugly at the prosecution table. "Your Honor," Jenkins testified, "the defendant became aggressive when I approached." Maya kept her voice calm. "Officer, you approached me while I was legally recording police activity. You never stated why you were detaining me?" "Watch your tone, counsel," Judge Williamson warned, though Maya's tone had been perfectly professional. The judge, a former prosecutor, had been ruling against her all morning. When Maya presented time-stamped video evidence proving Jenkins had lied about the encounter, the officer snapped. As he walked past her table during a recess, he muttered a racial slur under his breath. Maya stood. "Your Honor, I'd like that remark on the record." That's when Jenkins turned and struck her. A full-handed slap that silenced the room. In the shocked stillness, something extraordinary happened. Judge Williamson clutched his chest, his face turning gray. He slumped forward, unconscious. A heart attack. Chaos erupted. Bailiffs called 911. People screamed, and Maya saw her opportunity. She stood and walked calmly to the bench. Not hurried, not angry. With the same measured pace she'd used her entire career. "Everyone, please remain calm," she said, her voice carrying through the chaos. The bailiffs, distracted by the medical emergency, didn't stop her. She picked up the gavel. The weight felt familiar in her hand. As the only attorney currently present and given the emergency circumstances, I am assuming temporary judicial authority under Rule 2.215 of the State Judicial Code. She looked directly at Officer Jenkins, who stood frozen. "Bailiff, secure the officer who just committed assault in open court." For the first time, Jenkins looked afraid. Paramedics rushed Judge Williamson away. The courtroom remained in session, though nobody quite knew what to do. Maya addressed the stunned courtroom. "We will continue these proceedings. Officer Jenkins, you will now testify under oath about what just occurred." The prosecutor jumped up. "You can't do this! You're a defendant!" Maya fixed him with a calm stare. Rule 2.215 allows any attorney to assume emergency judicial authority when no judge is available. Would you prefer we postpone and allow evidence to disappear? Testimony to be coordinated? Her meaning was clear. The prosecutor sat down. For the next hour, Maya conducted a masterclass in courtroom procedure. She had Jenkins sworn in. She played the courtroom's own security footage, which clearly showed the unprovoked slap. She entered the video into evidence herself. Then she dropped the hammer. "Officer, while we have you under oath, let's discuss your arrest report from my case." She projected his report onto the courtroom screens. "You stated I was yelling and causing a disturbance. Yet the video shows me silent until you approached." Jenkins squirmed. "I, may have misremembered." "Like you misremembered why you felt entitled to strike me?" Maya's voice never rose, but every word cut deeper than any scream could. She called the court reporter to the stand. "Please read back Officer Jenkins's remark immediately before the assault." The court reporter, a young black woman, spoke clearly. "He said, 'Know your place. You black but—'" Maya stopped her with a raised hand. The point was made. The spectators, many of them there for their own cases against police misconduct, leaned forward. They were watching something unprecedented, a victim becoming the arbiter of her own justice. By the time a flustered substitute judge arrived from another courtroom, Maya had already. dismissed all charges against herself with prejudice, filed assault charges against Officer Jenkins, initiated an internal affairs referral, preserved all evidence. The substitute judge, an elderly woman named Judge Freeman, listened to the recording of what had transpired. She looked at Maya, then at the cowering Officer Jenkins. "I see no reason to disrupt these proceedings," Judge Freeman said. "Dr. Thorne has handled this with more professionalism than many seasoned judges I know." She turned to Jenkins. "Based on the evidence presented, I'm revoking your bail. You'll be remanded pending trial." As they led Jenkins away in handcuffs, he looked back at Maya with pure hatred. She met his gaze calmly from the spectator section where she'd returned to sit. Judge Freeman addressed the courtroom. "What we witnessed today was justice. Not because a black woman took the bench, but because a qualified attorney upheld the law when the system failed." She looked at Maya. "Dr. Thorne, this court thanks you for your service, and I believe I'll be seeing you on the bench permanently soon." 6 months later, Maya sat in a different courtroom, this time being sworn in as an actual judge. "Governor's appointment." The video of her temporary judgeship had gone viral, sparking nationwide judicial reform conversations. Officer Jenkins was convicted of assault and perjury. The police department initiated massive reforms. As Maya donned her black robe for the first time as a real judge, she thought back to that slap, to the moment of ultimate powerlessness that became her moment of ultimate power. She looked at her reflection in her new chamber's window. The same woman who'd been struck now wore the robe of authority. Her first case was a simple traffic violation. But the young defendant before her, a black teenager, looked terrified. Maya leaned forward, her voice gentle. "Don't be afraid. This is a courtroom. Here, everyone gets to tell their story." She gavelled the session to order. Not with anger, not with vengeance, with the quiet confidence of someone who knew that sometimes justice just needs the right person to take a seat.